Hey, if you're a woman over 40 and you're a little frustrated by the lack of results from all of the things that you're doing, this is for you. I'm going to answer 7 super common questions I get regularly. We've just gone through Menopause Awareness Month as I'm doing this. We're on the tail end of it. And I've been answering questions all month coming in from our Instagram, coming in from our Facebook page, and from YouTube. And so this is for you. I'm Deborah Atkinson, by the way, the founder of Flipping 50. We exclusively focus on women who are just before, during perimenopause, or post-menopause, and the way their musculoskeletal system changes due to menopause, and how we change the exercise to modify that, counter it, and mitigate it, not only for decreasing symptoms now, but for enhancing and increasing longevity later. So you and I have our 84, 85-year-old selves thanking us for it. So let's go through rapid fire. Here we go. Number 1, this one is all about weight loss resistance. And here's the first question. Why am I eating less and exercising more, but still gaining weight in menopause? And the answer is complicated and it's multiple things, but it's related to one thing we call insulin resistance. So imagine what's happening is your estrogen level, progesterone, testosterone, as those levels go down, correspondingly, your cortisol level goes up. We're not able to manage and regulate our blood sugar levels as well. So when we have blood sugar levels that kind of go up and down more throughout the day, our energy kind of does that too. So if you're noticing, you've got times that I'm really going, and then times that you could put your head down on the desk, and that's frowned upon in the afternoon where I work. So we want to make sure that we stabilize that. But one of the reasons that roller coaster is happening is something called insulin resistance. So weight loss resistance comes from that, where every time our blood sugar does go up, your body secretes insulin from the pancreas. And you don't have a problem doing that unless you're diabetic. So you don't have a problem creating it. The problem is, it's like the insulin is knocking on the door trying to say, well, let's take that blood sugar and put it into the cells for the muscle to store, or for your liver to store if the muscle is full. And they're not opening the door, right? So it takes more and more insulin to really bang that door down. When you've got so much insulin in your system, insulin is a fat storage hormone. So see the point if you're trying to lose weight, but you're insulin resistant, you are in fat storage much of the time if blood sugar spikes throughout the day. So pay attention to what you're eating. So you're putting your carbohydrates last. You're making really good carb choices like sweet potatoes, beans, and legumes that don't spike the blood sugar rapidly. And you're dealing with stressors. You're trying as much as you can. I know it's a challenge to get a good night's sleep as well as you can on most nights, because one night of sleep deprivation makes blood sugar levels go crazy. By the way, here's one of the things that I do. I have used magnesium to help with sleep, support, and regularity for 15 years. I have tried them all. I use right now Magnesium Breakthrough. I've been using this this bottle is still fairly full. It's my second one. So about 45 days. And I will never go back. Right now, it is the only full spectrum magnesium that I know of on the market. I mean, it includes all 7 types. So one of the dilemmas, if you need magnesium, and up to 80% of us are insufficient in magnesium, it helps with metabolism, with muscle, helps get your calcium into your bone, helps with regularity, helps with so many enzyme actions in the body, many related to metabolism. We all want it, even if you don't sleep poorly. But there's magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, there's magnesium threonate, there's magnesium oxide. You don't want that one, by the way. But it's like, which one do I take? Magnesium malate, right? In here, you get them all. And I would have sworn by magnesium citrate. It's what I was taking for a really long time until I switched to this. The first night, it was amazing. Great sleep, also great regularity. Now we are very intimate. So that's my little secret. If you want to try it, you can go to bioptimizers.com/flipping and get 15% off your first order. I promise you're going to love it. Okay, sleep is so important for that reason. Blood sugar going like that, no bueno for weight loss. So we need that support, and you don't want to lose muscle. So you want to make sure you're resistance training. Otherwise, you're slowing your metabolism down. So adding muscle increases your metabolism. Super important. Number 2, the second question, what's the biggest mistake women make trying to lose menopause belly fat? Well, it would be back to number 1, ignoring that. Ignoring the science behind insulin resistance and the things that help you overcome it. Lifting weights, number 1, is your number 1 exercise friend, because as we add that muscle, we, after one strength training workout, have greater insulin sensitivity. That's already an improvement. Now, that doesn't last forever, but we work out twice a week, and each time you do, you're increasing lean muscle so that around the clock, you increase your insulin sensitivity as well. So focus on the right thing. It's not just calorie burning. We're not looking at 30 minutes, and if I burn more calories in cardio versus I do in resistance training, that would be the better choice. In the long run, this is going to keep you alive and stronger and living better for all the years you have in front of you. So choose the right kind of exercise. And menopause belly fat, visceral belly fat, tends to go down with resistance training and high intensity interval training. So that in walking, so you're below the threshold of increasing cortisol level, can be super great in combination. All right, your exercise strategies. Let's talk about this. Question number 3 is really about that. So is 4. So here they come. Number 3 is, how many days a week should I strength train in menopause, and is more better? Push pause. I hope you answered this question. No, more is not better. Better is better. So quality workouts as opposed to more. Your body has to recover in between. So how many times a week should you strength training? I love 2. The research is pretty clear that between 2 or 3, 2 is the minimum that you need for great metabolic health. Doesn't mean that more is better. But between 2 and 3 times a week, statistically, there's no statistical significance that says 3 is better than 2. They both get results for bone and for muscle. So the big key is, what do you like? And are you really recovered so you can work as hard if you do 3? So if you lose some intensity of your workouts just to increase the frequency, you've not really gained anything. So if you are somebody right now who says, I'm tired all the time or most of the time, I would suggest you start with 2, because you can always increase it. Start with 2, make them really quality workouts, recover completely between, and still move. You're going to walk or do high intensity interval training, play your pickleball games, walk the dog. You're going to be an active person between, not on the couch. But yes, less is just as good. Okay. The number 4, can I do strength training if I have joint pain or past injuries? I would say it's almost more mandatory for you. If we strengthen the muscle, say surrounding a joint, then my elbow would take less stress if my forearm muscles and my biceps and triceps were stronger, because they're doing more of the work. The more we let muscle atrophy, the joint has to bear more pain, more weight. So it's true specifically, I think we think of this most often, or I do as a strength and conditioning coach, at the knees. Knees and surrounding muscles need to be strong. Your quadriceps, your hamstrings, that's front and back of the thigh, need to be strong. So here's how we do it safely, though, if you have existing or prior issues with joints, is we start you slower start you lower, and we progress slower. So it's just right place to start, right pace to progress. So we just err on the conservative side. When you read things like there's a range of between 2 and 4, you go for 2. When there's a range of repetitions that is between 8 repetitions in 15, you're going to go for 15 because that means it's a lighter weight. That may seem a little unintuitive, so think through that. But a lighter weight would be better for you. We just don't want to go super light and wear out that joint. But absolutely, strength training is your best friend. Okay, number 5, what should I eat before and after workouts to actually see results? This is so great. So before you're doing, say, high intensity interval training, or you're doing your strength or resistance training, those are the two most important. If you are simply going for a walk, a light walk, you may not need to eat anything. Your body is primarily going to burn fat for fuel, and you probably, I don't know about you, but maybe me, I've got enough fat on me that I can go for a 45-minute walk, not a problem, right? So if you are hungry, great, feed yourself, don't starve yourself. But before high intensity interval training, I like to have a little bit of carbohydrate. You don't want something heavy or hard or solid in your gut. Your body's going to work really hard during the high intensity workout, and it will want instant support. Carbohydrates are really rapidly absorbed and available, but we're not even talking big amounts. We're talking half a banana, maybe a hearty rice cake. I like the brand Lundberg, and I'll smear a little smear, literally a smear of peanut butter or almond butter on the top. That's how I would start if I were hungry. Now, if I wasn't, but I'd had a cup of coffee or matcha, I would have a little cream in that before I got up, before I did intervals. That even might be enough. The key is eat afterward, because your body needs to replenish that glycogen, be ready for activity the rest of the day, brain power the rest of the day, and your next workout. You need to recover. Strength training, focus on protein, getting protein, a little bit of carbohydrate maybe, but you're not going to be working as hard. Your body is actually, if you take protein in before, you actually start your recovery before you even begin your workout. So if you need something before protein, I like to have a little Flipping 50 Longevity Pro plant protein, about half a scoop in a little glass of almond milk, mix it up, it's blended, and I'll have that maybe with half a banana in it or a little bit of chopped ice. And that's it. So it's something, not nothing, a little bit of light the fire so I can spend more energy in that workout. And then still solid meal afterward. But let me tell you this. The research recently has said it doesn't really matter if you don't eat or you do eat. So allow that to be personal preference. But here's the caveat. That is for women who are eating regular meals around the clock and not skipping or skimping. So if you're somebody who you know yourself and you're not actually eating enough, it's more like you to eat too little because we grew up in diet culture. Pairing a good snack before or a meal afterward, right around your workouts, helps you mentally feel like this is going to the right place. This is helping me build lean tissue and burn fat by having a better metabolism. Remember, if you eat too little, you're putting the brake on your metabolism. You're telling your body burn less. So we want to be careful about that. If you put your foot on the accelerator for exercise, but your foot on the brake for nutrition, it's kind of a wash. And that's why a lot of women are not seeing progress. You're eating too little to build the muscle that you want, that boosts the metabolism that you want. I'm going to let that one sit for a second. Next question is, how do I build bone density? Is walking enough? I hope you already answered this at home. No, walking is not enough. Back in 1995, when I first started teaching about osteopenia, osteoporosis, we would use the term minimal effective stress. And that's how we talked about walking. But you know the answer to this because you know what weightlifting works is because you pick up weights heavier than things you normally do. And that gets you stronger in the adaptation between one workout and the next when you have a chance to rest. Well, bone density is a little the same. You have to have more stimulus than you usually do. If you're just going for a walk, you don't have more stimulus. You have the same stimulus you always do when you're going for a walk. So if you can walk a mile You've gotten all the bone density you're going to get. You're not going to get more bone density if you go for 3 miles. You get a little more endurance. You might get a little bit more cardiovascular endurance, but you're not going to get more bone density. So moving on to jumping or hopping or box jumps, drop jumps from a chair or a bench to the floor. And this is over time in months. And you may say, I can't do that because of prolapse or incontinence or joint issues or joint replacement. And that's okay. We'll all find a stopping point. But we need resistance training that is an overload, ideally some kind of jump training, even if for you it's heel drops and stomping your feet. That's one way to get it with less impact. Those things plus being active as an active person. So going for those walks and being up and down all day, resist gravity too. And then doing 12 minutes of yoga a day has also been proven. I wouldn't start with those last two. The first two are the most critical: resistance training and ground force training or jump training. Okay, number 7, last one. I'm exhausted all the time. Should I push through workouts or rest more? So we have a rule at Flipping 50, and we call this the number 1 rule or tenet of Flipping 50, and it is restore before more. Because what generally happens, remember, the estrogen comes down, the cortisol goes up. And it goes up for all kinds of reasons. You're not getting that sleep. So remember, sleep, help, this is here. You want to make sure that you're looking at all of the pieces all together. So we grew up hearing that energy creates energy. So if you're low on energy, maybe you need to exercise more. In midlife, we have to be careful that we don't use those old messages against ourselves. So while it's true, we do want you moving, but we may want you moving differently until you get over that I'm tired all the time feeling. So if you are exercising correctly for yourself, you should be the most energetic person in the room. 80% of women admit they're not doing the minimum twice weekly resistance training for metabolic health, just metabolic health. That's to stave off disease. So you should be really energetic if you're exercising regularly. And if you're not, let's fix that first. So we pull a little exercise back. Restore before more means, yes, we want to stretch, want to do some walking. We may want to do some strength training, but we do it in smaller doses. So blood sugar levels are usually an issue with people who have this fatigue all the time. It's related to chronic cortisol levels being high. A little cortisol because you worked out, because you have a speech at work, or because your daughter or son is getting married. Those things are normal. It happens and then it's over. And we're supposed to respond like that. But when we're a caregiver and work is really stressful for a long stretch of time and you're in the middle of a move, I don't know who that would be, and you have a lot of things on your plate all at once. That's chronic stress if it lasts for a long time. And then remember, you're a woman in midlife with hormones changing, contributing to that too. So that means cortisol is a problem for a longer period of time. That starts to infringe on your adrenals, right? So that surge of energy we feel is called adrenaline. That's the anchored in the word adrenals. And they just can't keep up. It's not like they're tired, but when cortisol is a chronic issue, adrenals are an issue. It's called HPA axis dysfunction. The signal, the message is not quite getting there. So we're not rising to the occasion, but we're also not recovering afterward. So we need got to put the brakes on. You kind of need a vacation from your regular routine to pay attention better to nutrition. Maybe look at, do you have sufficient micronutrients? Do we need to supplement with some vitamins or minerals? Some adaptogens, things like ashwagandha or maca, might be beneficial for you. Those adaptogens are from plants, and they basically help your body kick in and do what it naturally should do with a little bit of support. It's like training wheels. And if you don't need it, it's no harm, no foul, nothing bad will come as a side effect from that. Might also want to look at, again, go for walks throughout the day, short walks as opposed to one long walk. When you start lifting again or weightlifting, 10 or 15 minutes at a time probably would be better than doing a long full workout because we don't want to throw you under the bus again. focusing on your sleep. And again, if you're struggling with that, sometimes progesterone is very helpful if you're not already taking it. Magnesium is also one of those solutions. But we have to be paying attention to go to bed on time, shut up the screens, make sure it's a cool, quiet, dark room. All of those things also really matter. So I hope that's been helpful. 7 very common questions I get frequently. If you have a question I didn't answer, put it down below. And if you have a question from the question or the answer I gave, put that down below too. Don't forget, subscribe, click the bell, and look at the description. I'll share the details on Magnesium Breakthrough if you're also looking for a little sleep support. I'll see you on the flip side.